Can you tell me, Bernardo, what this book is? Why you've kept it?
This is my life. This is my past, this is my present, and this is my future. And I keep it, to remind me. But it's always there. This is it. This is my life. This is everything. This is the way I am. This is what made me this way.
On March 16th, 1968, a squadron of U.S. soldiers in Vietnam invaded the small village of My Lai and slaughtered innocent civilians and everything that moved in sight. Prior to the actual event, Charlie Company, the squad responsible, had been suffering and pushing through difficult terrain, weather, and uncooperative officers, all of which contributed to the built-up tension that could cause such a horrific event. Philip Caputo, a former U.S. Marine who served in Vietnam, described the brutality of the war's battles and environmental conditions when he said, "Everything rotted and corroded there. Bodies, boot leather, metal, morals, scorched by the sun, racked by the wind and rain of the monsoon. Fighting in alien swamps and jungles, our humanity rubbed off of us as the protective bluing rubbed off the barrels of our rifles." This combination of negative effects throughout the war put U.S. soldiers in a never-before-felt mental state, pushing them to execute the unthinkable. Unclear orders from U.S. commanders given to soldiers led to the unjust, vicious attacks on My Lai, where no one was meant to be left alive. Charlie Company, the U.S. squadron responsible, led by Captain Medina and Lieutenant Calley, was ordered to eliminate the Viet Cong's 48th Battalion during the last stages of the North Vietnamese Tet Offensive, with clear orders from Medina to burn the villages, poison the wells, and wipe out the enemy. The idea was that some Viet Cong might be disguised as civilians, therefore all civilians must be killed.
The most disturbing thing I saw was one boy. And this was something that, this is what haunts me from the whole ordeal down there. It was a boy with his arm shot up, half hanging on. And he just had this bewildered look in his face, and I'm like, what did I do? What's wrong? He was just, it's hard to describe. I shot the boy, killed him.
Now, she was running with her back from a tree line, but she was carrying something. I didn't know if it was a weapon or what, but it was a woman. I knew it was a woman. I didn't want to shoot a woman, but I was given the order to shoot. So I'm thinking that she had a weapon running, so when I shot and I turned over, it was a baby. Shot about 3 or 4 times. And the bullet just went through and shot the baby too. And I turned over and I saw the baby face with her half gone.
Lai Lai, a witness to the massacre when he was 6 years old, described his memories of the incident when he said, "My father tried to make me go away, not to see the bodies, but I saw them anyway and knew some were my friends." Among the U.S. soldiers that were killing, there were a few who disobeyed, one being helicopter pilot Hugh Thompson, who flew down and rescued some of the Vietnamese civilians. The pure brutality of Charlie Company was inexcusable, and the commanding officers responsible for giving the orders knew that the incident would need to be covered up, as their attempt at finding alleged Viet Cong completely failed. The My Lai attack was reported as being a military victory in an attempt to hide what really happened. Anyone who did question the details was given false information as part of the cover-up. It was not until 1969 when Ronald Ridenhour was the first to shed light on the issue after he became suspicious when he examined the details of the cover-up.
When I sat down with a friend who had been there 3 weeks after the massacre, and we were telling each other war stories, and we hadn't seen each other in 3 months, and I said, "What have you been doing?" He said, "What have you been doing?" He said, "Oh man, did you hear what we did at Pinkville?" I said, "No, what'd you do at Pinkville?" He said, "We went in there and we killed everybody." I said, "Killed everybody? What do you mean?" He said, "We just shot them, lined them up and shot them down. 300, 400, 500 people, I don't know how many."
Shortly after, in November of 1969, Seymour Hersh, a newspaper writer, was informed of the incident and published it in newspapers across the country. Various opinions were sparked nationwide, as people were asking themselves who's to blame and why Charlie Company would execute such an action in the first place. Some said the report was trying to demoralize the U.S., while others used the incident as proof to show our current genocidal stance in Vietnam. Both men responsible, Lieutenant Calley and Captain Medina, were put on trial, and the results determined from them were controversial, as Calley was pronounced guilty but served a minute portion of his sentence, and Medina got away without any charges. The actual decision on who is to blame and whether or not the soldiers could have refused to partake in the killings has been an ongoing argument ever since 1968. The conclusion drawn by most of the U.S. soldiers themselves was pretty clear.
If one of my men had refused to shoot, I shudder to think what have been the repercussions, because it's hard to say now what I would have done, looking back. When it happened, he would have been in serious trouble. He could have faced court-martial. He could have been shot on the spot.
The course theme that strongly relates to this incident is national identity. The massacre at My Lai had Americans questioning their war efforts and what kind of people we were to kill hundreds of innocent civilians. The incident served as a negative hit to the status and reputation of the United States as a whole in both our eyes and those across the globe.
Do you think this really dreadful condition that you're in, this terrible life that you're leading, do you think it's ever going to come to an end?
Yeah, when I kill myself, it'll come to an end. You're looking at someone that did. It can happen if you go to war. Those are the type of things will happen. It can happen to anyone. After they train you and they program you, it can happen. It happens. That's reality. That's what war is. War is not something that I shoot at you, you shoot at me. Well, we take time out. Well, don't shoot me here, don't shoot at you. War is war. It's killing in all type of ways. And that's where we don't need another war.